I still have space on my computer.
I can start.
Thank you.
Thank you, Anna.
Nothing I see means anything. The reason that this is so is that the reason this is so is that I see nothing, and nothing has no meaning. It is necessary that I recognize this, that I may learn to see. What I think I see now is taking the place of vision. I must let it go by realizing it has no meaning, so that vision may take its place. Nothing I see means anything. I have given what I see all the meaning it has for me. I have judged everything I look upon, and it is this and only this I see. This is not vision. It is merely an illusion of reality, because my judgments have been made quite apart from reality. I am willing to recognize the lack of validity in my judgments, because I want to see. My judgments have hurt me, and I do not want to see according to them. I have given what I see all the meaning it has for me.
Thank you. Gemma?
I do not understand anything I see. How could I understand what I see when I have judged it amiss? What I see is the projection of my own errors of thought. I do not understand what I see because it is not understandable. There is no sense in trying to understand it, but there is every reason to let it go and make room for what can be seen and understood and loved. I can exchange what I see now for this merely by being willing to do so. Is not this a better choice than the one I made before? I do not understand anything I see. These thoughts do not mean anything. Excuse me. The thoughts of which I am aware do not mean anything, because I am trying to think without God. What I call my thoughts are not my real thoughts. My real thoughts are the thoughts I think with God. I am not aware of them because I have made my thoughts take their place. I am willing to recognize that my thoughts do not mean anything and let them go. I choose to have them be replaced by what they were intended to replace. My thoughts are meaningless, but all creation lies in the thoughts I think with God. These thoughts do not mean anything.
Thank you. Tina?
I am never upset for the reason I think. I am never upset for the reason I think, because I am constantly trying to justify my thoughts. I am constantly trying to make them true. I make all things my enemies so that my anger is justified and my attacks, are warranted. I have not realized how much I have misused everything I see by assigning this role to it. I have done this to defend a thought system that has hurt me and that I no longer want. I am willing to let it go. I am never upset for the reason I think. Oh. I am upset because I see what is not there. Reality is never frightening. It is impossible that it could upset me. Reality brings only perfect peace. When I am upset, it is always because I have replaced reality with illusions I made up. The illusions are upsetting because I have given them reality and thus regard reality as an illusion. Nothing in God's creation is affected in any way by this confusion of mine. I am always upset by nothing. I am upset because I see what is not there.
I see only the past. As I look about, I condemn the world I look upon. I call this seeing. I hold the past against everyone and everything, making them my enemies. When I have forgiven myself and remembered who I am, I will bless everyone and everything I see. There will be no past and therefore no enemies. And I will look with love on all that I failed to see before. I see only the past. My mind is preoccupied with past thoughts. I see only my own thoughts, and my mind is preoccupied with the past. What then can I see as it is? Let me remember that I look on the past to prevent the present from dawning on my mind. Let me understand that I am trying to use time against God. Let me learn to give the past away, realizing that in so doing, I am giving up nothing. My mind is preoccupied with past thoughts. Hi, Vivian. Are you with us? We're on number 9. Would you mind reading a couple?
Okay. You can hear me now, yes?
You're real low. Say some more.
Okay, let me. Number 9. I see nothing as it is now. If I see nothing as it is now, it can truly be said that I see nothing. I can see only what is now. The choice is not whether to see the past or the present. The choice is merely whether to see or not. What I have chosen to see has cost me vision. Now I would choose again that I may see. I see nothing as it is now. Number 10, my thoughts do not mean anything. I have no private thought, yet it is only private thoughts of which I am aware. What can these thoughts mean? They do not exist, and so they mean nothing. Yet my mind is part of creation and part of its creator. Would I not rather join the thinking of the universe than to obscure all that is really mine with my pitiful and meaningless private thoughts? My thoughts do not mean anything.
You do another one, Viv.
"11, my meaningless thoughts are showing me a meaningless world. Since the thoughts of which I am aware do not mean anything, the world that pictures them can have no meaning. What is producing this world is insane, and so is what it produces. Reality is not insane, and I have real thoughts as well as insane ones. I can therefore see a real world if I look to my real thoughts as my guide for seeing. My meaningless thoughts are showing me a meaningless world."
Hannah.
Did you want me to go to 12?
I am upset because I see a meaningless world. Insane thoughts are upsetting. They produce a world in which there is no order anywhere. Only chaos rules a world that represents chaotic thinking, and chaos has no laws. I cannot live in peace in such a world. I am grateful that this world is not real, and that I need not see it at all unless I choose to value it. I am grateful that this world is not real, and that I need not see it at all unless I choose to value it. And I do not choose to value what is totally insane and has no meaning. I am upset because I see a meaningless world. A meaningless world engenders fear. The totally insane engenders fear because the totally insane engenders fear because it is completely undependable and offers no grounds for trust. The totally insane engenders fear because it is completely undependable and offers no grounds for trust. Nothing in madness is dependable. It holds out no safety and no hope. But such a world is not real. I have given it the illusion of reality and have suffered from my belief in it. Now I choose to withdraw this belief and place my trust in reality. Now I choose to withdraw this belief and place my trust in reality. In choosing this, I will escape all the effects of the world of fear because I am acknowledging that it does not exist. A meaningless world engenders fear.
Keep going.
God did not create a meaningless world. How can a meaningless world exist if God did not create it? He is the source of all meaning, and everything that is real is in his mind. It is in my mind too, because he created it with me. Why should I continue to suffer from the effects of my own insane thoughts when the perfection of creation is my home? Let me remember the power of my decision and recognize where I really abide. God did not create a meaningless world. My thoughts are images that I have made. Whatever I see reflects my thoughts. It is my thoughts that tell me where I am and what I am. The fact that I see a world in which there is suffering and loss and death shows me that I am seeing only the representation of my insane thoughts. And I am not and am not allowing my real thoughts to cast their beneficent light on what I see. Yet God's way is sure. The images I have made cannot prevail against him, because it is not my will that they do so. My will is his, and I will place no other gods before him. My will is his, and I will place no other gods before him. My thoughts are images that I have made.
Thank you. Gemma.
I have no neutral thoughts. Neutral thoughts are impossible because all thoughts have power. They will either make a false world or lead me to the real one. But thoughts cannot be without effects. As the world I see arises from my thinking errors, so will the real world rise before my eyes as I let my errors be corrected. My thoughts cannot be neither true nor false. They must be one or the other. What I see shows me which they are. I have no neutral thoughts. I see no neutral things. What I see witnesses to what I think. if I did not think I I'm just going to say again, what I see witnesses to what I think. If I did not think, I would not exist. Oh God. Sorry. Oh, because life is thought. Let me look on the world I see as the representation of my own state of mind. Oh. I know that my state of mind can change, and so I also know the world I see can change as well. I see no neutral things.
You do another one, Gemma.
Oh, yeah. Ooh. I am not alone in experiencing the effects of my seeing. If I have no private thoughts, I cannot see a private world. Even the mad idea of separation had to be shared before it could form the basis of the world I see. Yet that sharing was a sharing of nothing. I can also call upon my real thoughts, which share everything with everyone. As my thoughts of separation call to the separation thoughts of others, so my real thoughts awaken the real thoughts in them, and the world my real thoughts show me will dawn on their sight as well as mine. I am not alone in experiencing the effects of my seeing. Wow, beautiful.
Thank you, Tina.
Dear one, you're loud. I am not alone in experiencing the effects of my thoughts. I am alone in nothing. Everything I think or say or do teaches all the universe. The Son of God cannot think or speak. The Son of God cannot think or speak or act in vain. He cannot be alone in anything. It is therefore in my power to change every mind along with mine. For mine is the power of God. I am not alone in experiencing the effects of my thoughts. I am determined to see. Recognizing the shared nature of my thoughts, I am determined to see. I would look upon the witnesses that show me the thinking of the world has been changed. I would behold the proof that what has been done through me has enabled love to replace fear, laughter to replace tears, and abundance to replace loss. I would look upon the real world and let it teach me that my will and the will of God are one. I am determined to see. Yeah. I am determined to see things differently. What I see now are but signs of disease, disaster, and death. This cannot be what God created for his beloved Son. The very fact that I see such things is proof that I do not understand God. Therefore, I also do not understand his Son. What I see tells me that I do not know who I am. I am determined to see the witnesses to the truth in me, rather than those which show me an illusion of myself. I am determined to see things differently.
Keep going.
What I see is a form of vengeance. The world I see is hardly the representation of loving thoughts. It is a picture of attack on everything by everything. It is anything but a reflection of the love of God and the love of his Son. It is my own attack thoughts. They give rise to this picture. My loving thoughts will save me from this perception of the world and give me the peace God intended me to have. What I see is a form of vengeance.
Vivian. You're muted, Vivian.
Sorry. 23. I can escape from this world by giving up attack thoughts. Herein lies salvation and nowhere else. Without attack thoughts, I could not see a world of attack. As forgiveness allows love to return to my awareness, I will see a world of peace and safety and joy. And it is this I choose to see in place of what I look on now. I can escape from this world by giving up attack thoughts. 24. I do not perceive my own best interests. Oh boy. How can I recognize my own best interests when I do not know who I am? What I think are my best interests would merely bind me closer to the world of illusions. I am willing to follow the guide God has given me to find out what my own best interests are, recognizing that I cannot perceive them by myself. I do not perceive my own best interests. 25. I do not know what anything is for. To me, the purpose of everything is to prove that my illusions about myself are real. It's for this purpose that I attempt to use everyone and everything. It's for this that I believe the world is. It is for this that I believe the world is for. Therefore, I do not recognize its real purpose. The purpose I've given to the world has led to a frightening picture of it. Let me open my mind to the world's real purpose by withdrawing the one that I have given and learning the truth about it. I do not know what anything is for.
Thank you. My attack thoughts are attacking my invulnerability. How can I know who I am when I see myself as under constant attack? Pain, illness, loss, age, and death seem to threaten me. All my hopes and wishes and plans appear to be at the mercy of a world I cannot control. Yet perfect security and complete fulfillment are my inheritance. I have tried to give my inheritance away in exchange for the world I see. But God has kept my inheritance safe for me. My own real thoughts will teach me what it is. My attack thoughts are attacking my invulnerability. Above all else, I want to see, recognizing that what I see reflects what I think. I'm starting that again. Above all else, I want to see. Recognizing that what I see reflects what I think I am. I realize that vision is my greatest need. The world I see attests to the fearful nature of the self-image I have made. If I would remember who I am, it is essential that I let this image of myself go, as it is replaced by truth. Vision will surely be given me. And with this vision, I will look upon the world and on myself with charity and love. Above all else, I want to see above all else, I want to see differently. The world I see holds my fearful self-image in place and guarantees its continuance. While I see the world as I see it now, truth cannot enter my awareness. I would let the door behind this world be opened for me. I would let the door behind this world be opened for me. I may look past it to the world that reflects the love of God. Above all else, I want to see differently. God is in everything I see. Behind every image I have made, the truth remains unchanged. Behind every veil I have drawn across the face of love, its light remains undimmed. Beyond all my insane wishes is my will, united with the will of my Father. God is still everywhere and in everything forever. And we, who are a part of him, will yet look past all appearances and recognize the truth beyond them all. God is in everything I see. Anna.
God is in everything I see because God is in my mind. In my own mind, in my own mind, behind all my insane thoughts of separation and attack, is the knowledge that all is one forever. I have not lost the knowledge of who I am because I have forgotten it. It has been kept for me in the mind of God. It has been kept for me in the mind of God, who has not left his thoughts. And I, who am among them, am one with them and one with him. God is in everything I see because God is in my mind. I am not a victim of the world I see. I am not the victim of the world I see. How can I be the victim of a world that can be completely undone if I so choose? My chains are loosened. I can drop them off merely by desiring to do so. The prison door is open. I can leave simply by walking out. Nothing holds me in this world. Only my wish to stay keeps me a prisoner. I would give up my insane wishes and walk into the sunlight at last. I am not a victim of the world I see. I have invented the world I see. I made up the prison in which I see myself. All I need do is recognize this, and I am free. All I need do is recognize this, and I am free. I have deluded myself into believing it is possible to imprison the Son of God. I was bitterly mistaken in this belief, which I no longer want. The Son of God must forever be free. He is as God created him. He is as God created him, and not what I would make of him. He is where God would have him be, and not where I thought to hold him prisoner. I have invented the world I see.
You're muted.
Can you do another one, Anna?
There is another way of looking at the world. Since the purpose of the world is not the one I ascribe to it, there must be another way of looking at it. I see everything upside down, and my thoughts are the opposite of truth. I see the world as a prison for God's Son. It must be then that the world is really a place where he can be set free. I would look upon the world as it is and see it as a place where the Son of God finds his freedom. There is another way of looking at the world.
Thank you, Gemma.
I could see peace instead of this. When I see the world as a place of freedom, I realize that it reflects the laws of God instead of the rules I made up for it to obey. I will understand that peace, not war, abides in it. And I will perceive that peace also abides in the hearts of all who share this place with me. I could see peace instead of this. My mind is part of God's. I am very holy. As I share the peace of the world with my brothers, I begin to understand that this peace comes from deep within myself. The world I look upon has taken on the light of my forgiveness and shines forgiveness back at me In this light, I begin to see what my illusions about myself kept hidden. I begin to understand the holiness of all living things, including myself, and their oneness with me. My mind is part of God's. I am very holy. My holiness envelops everything I see. From my holiness does the perception of the real world come. Having forgiven, I no longer see myself as guilty. I can accept the innocence that is the truth about me. Seen through understanding eyes, the holiness of the world is all I see, for I can picture only the thoughts I hold about myself. My holiness envelops everything I see. Another one?
Yeah.
My holiness blesses the world. The perception of my holiness does not bless me alone. Everyone and everything I see in its light shares in the joy it brings to me. There is nothing that is apart from this joy, because there is nothing that does not share my holiness. As I recognize my holiness, so does the holiness of the world shine forth for everyone to see. My holiness blesses the world.
I think you've got another one in there.
Okay. There is nothing my holiness cannot do. My holiness is unlimited in its power to heal, because it is unlimited in its power to save. What is there to be saved from except illusions? And what are all illusions except false ideas about myself? My holiness undoes them all by asserting the truth about me. In the presence of my holiness, which I share with God Himself, all idols vanish. There is nothing my holiness cannot do.
Thank you, Vivian.
$39. My holiness is my salvation. Since my holiness saves me from all guilt, recognizing my holiness is recognizing my salvation. It's also recognizing the salvation of the world. Once I have accepted my holiness, nothing can make me afraid. And because I am unafraid, everyone must share in my understanding, which is the gift of God to me and to the world. My holiness is my salvation. I am blessed as a son of God. Herein lies my claim to all good and only good. I am blessed as a son of God. All good things are mine because God intended them for me. I cannot suffer any loss or deprivation or pain because of who I am. My Father supports me, protects me, and directs me in all things. His care for me is infinite and is with me forever. I am eternally blessed as his son. I am blessed as the Son of God. "41. God goes with me wherever I go. How can I be alone when God always goes with me? How can I be doubtful and unsure of myself when perfect certainty abides in him? How can I be disturbed by anything when he rests in me in absolute peace? How can I suffer when love and joy surround me through him? Let me not cherish illusions about myself. I am perfect because God goes with me wherever I go. God goes with me wherever I go." God is my strength. Vision is his gift. Let me not look to my own eyes to see today. Let me be willing to exchange my pitiful illusion of seeing for the vision that is given by God. Christ's vision is his gift, and he has given it to me. Let me call upon this gift today so that this day may help me to understand eternity. God is my strength. Vision is his gift. God is my source. I cannot see apart from him. I can see what God wants me to see. I cannot see anything else. Beyond his will lie only illusions. It is these I choose when I think I can see apart from him. It is these I choose when I try to see through the body's eyes. Yet the vision of Christ has been given me to replace them. It is through this vision that I choose to see. God is my source. I cannot see apart from him.
Thank you, Tina. Mm-hmm.
God is the light in which I see. I cannot see in darkness. God is the only light. Therefore, if I am to see, it must be through him. I have tried to define what seeing is, and I have been wrong. Now it is given me to understand that God is the light in which I see. Let me welcome vision in the happy world it will show me. God is the light in which I see. Ooh, God is the mind with which I think. I have no thoughts I do not share with God. I have no thoughts apart from him, because I have no mind apart from his. As part of his mind, my thoughts are his, and his thoughts are mine. God is the mind with which I think. I even do it. All right. God is the love in which I forgive. Ooh, God does not forgive because he has never condemned. The blameless cannot blame, and those who have accepted their innocence see nothing to forgive. Yet forgiveness is the means by which I will recognize my innocence. It is the reflection of God's love on earth. It will bring me near enough to heaven that the love of God can reach down to me and raise me up to him. Ooh, God is the love in which I forgive.
Hello, Dave.
Delta.
Morning, everybody.
Ja. Ja. Rasta.
Peace and love, peace and love. Beautiful. Anna, what's going on there? Still sitting in it?
Yeah, I just kind of had a shitty day today. I've just been pissed off all day. You know.
That's good. It's good to have a shitty day.
I know.
Not defending yourself against a shitty day is, let it happen. Let it be all the shittiness that it needs to be, because it'll give you the juice that you need, the grist for the mill. Anyway, that's good. Vivian, hello. How's your shitty day? Are you having a shitty day?
Somewhat. Mostly yes.
Mostly yes. The Buddha says all of life is suffering. So seen rightly, life on earth is a shitty day. But we're learning that our life is not on earth. We're learning that there is another way to see ourselves, and so allow that energetic to go forth into our day to make clear the way. So,
yeah.
But seen rightly, and you have to see rightly first, you have to see the world for what it is. It's a shitty place. It's a poor excuse for a habitat for a child of God.
Mm-hmm.
So don't expect the non-shitty thing to it's all shitty. That way you'll give up any hope and any expectation of finding something here that satisfies you. It's like, no, it's going to be a shitty day today. I'm not going to have fun, and I'm staying at home and locking my door. But you can't do that. You can't do that. You have to open the door and invite everybody in. It's like, come on, all you shitbags of my imagination, in you come. Annoy the crap out of me today, right? That's what's going to happen anyway, whether you have a spiritual orientation or not. You're going to go to work and it's going to annoy the crap out of you and you'll have a shitty day. And you'll either do that with Jesus or you'll do it on your own. I guarantee you that if you do it with Jesus, it'll be a lot easier. You'll have another way to look at those same shitty situations and begin to transform them in your thinking, and then get the results of that transformed in your external situation. Anthea, what's going on with you? You have a scarf on. Is it freezing cold there?
Well, I've had all the doors open. It's actually been very nice weather today. And I've had all the doors and windows open, but I think I left them open a bit long and I got a bit chilly.
That's something only an English person could say. It's actually been a very nice day today. That word actually like belies the nature of your Englishness.
Thanks.
It's actually been a very nice day today. So if you lived in Australia, you wouldn't say that because it's a very nice day all the time. You would only say it's actually been a shitty day today. That would be the thing that you would say if you lived here. So because we don't have shitty days, except today. It's look at that. It's grey and cold. So I'm having an English day. I'm totally with you in the day you're having. But we're here to transform. We're here to like change everything. So stand by for a miracle.
I've had a shitty week, Dave. I have not been sleeping. I've got like loads of tension in my body and I've had a headache for about 3 days.
When's the last time you had an orgasm?
Well, that would be telling. I live alone, you know.
I hear they're good for tension.
Yeah, well, it's not been working.
Well, luckily you're entitled to miracles then.
Yeah.
You'll go through stuff.
Yeah, I've been aware with it. I've just been kind of sitting with it, and I was praying, you know, for my headache to go, but then I realised I should be praying for the healing of my mind because sickness isn't real.
That's right.
So I changed my...
Where's your headache? Is it right in the top?
It's just, it's like up the back of my neck. It feels like a hangover.
Oh. A dull, achy sort of headache.
Yeah, it's tension. You know, I can feel it. I can really feel it in my head and in my body.
Good.
So I think I'm fighting it.
Do you have a bathtub?
Yeah.
Hot bath, as hot as you can stand it, to the point where you almost can't get in. Right? You're the same as Tina, exactly the same as Tina. Right? Her energy moves up and down her body, and it causes a manifestation of all sorts of things that goes on in this transformational energy. And the body, think of it this way, the body was originally designed as a vessel to have the experience of the denial of God in, right? So for lifetime after lifetime after lifetime, I've been using this body to go, fuck you, God, and judge everything, condemn everyone. And all of a sudden I've realized that doesn't work. But the cellular genetic makeup of the vessel, just because I pick up a Course in Miracles and go, oh, I'm going to change my mind about everything, that doesn't mean that it automatically, you know, the sparkly stuff in the air and all of a sudden it's changed, like Wanda the Magic Witch. You've got to do the work. So when you do the work, the body undergoes the shifts that the mind is taking on board, right? Now, you'll go through the same kinds of stuff that you can recognize in transformation, just as you do when you're a normal human being going through the particulars of your karma. but you give it a different purpose, right? We covered this a bit in yesterday's meeting, actually. You call it healing, all right? The only purpose the Holy Spirit has in anything is healing. So therefore, that's the only purpose that there truly is, right? But you learning to align with that purpose is going to be seeing, and like you said, I should have prayed for the healing of my mind rather than the healing of the headache. That's true. That's you aligning with that purpose. It's like, thank you for the healing, right? So when you're saying thank you for the healing, you've already recognized that actually you should be praying for the healing of your mind, right? At some point in your consciousness, in your decision making, you've already asked for that, the healing of your mind. That's the process you're in now. It's not really necessary that you need to continue to ask for it, other than that to remind yourself of the process that you're in, right? But God knows what you want before you ask. And so when you ask for that healing, right, you're not actually asking for the healing. You're asking for God in place of what it is you think is going on, right? Because the purpose of the healing of the mind is to recognize God and remember God, which is a memory buried deep behind the blocks that you put there. Okay. So you're actually asking the heart is actually asking for is to know itself. What the heart and mind, when they join together, is actually asking, I want to know God. I want to know my creator. Not for the healing of the mind, but the healing of the mind is a sort of intermediate thing that we use so we can begin to see the transitions and shifts occurring in our lives, right? So that we can see the power of our mind, so that we can see that we are supported by a higher power. Okay. Now, one of the things that happens, and I don't know why this is, Papaji used to say, swim in the ocean, right? My teacher, Ted, used to always say, swim in the ocean. And there's a few things, all right? I want to do swim in the ocean first, because swim in the ocean is a good one. I've used it many times. When you go through healing, right, which is the process you're in, you'll find that you tend to come up against these thresholds again and again and again. I keep seeing this, or I keep having this same experience. I keep feeling the same way, right? Whatever it is. And you'll get to this point where, oh, I'm done with this. I hate feeling like this. I want to change. I want something different, whatever, all of this stuff. That's an energetic response in your mind to the call. That's an energetic response. It plays out there in the field of dreams as a situation that you can relate to, but internally you're reacting to something that's calling you home. And you'll get sort of antsy in your skin. You'll be like, I want something else. I'm tired of this, blah, 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 blah. And you'll want to adjust. You'll want to change it, right? The physical expression of that call and the process of healing, which is what the call entails, like we go through this whole process of listening to the call. I listen, something's calling me, God's calling me, something, I don't quite recognize it, but I feel there's something inside and I'm going towards it, right? As I go towards it, and we'll call it the light, but as I go towards the light, unbeknownst to me that I'm walking towards the light, but as I go towards the light, there are certain thresholds that you'll cross in your own, or bridges that you'll repair in your own process of healing, right? That may be thousands of years old, millions of years old. Energetically, they all carry a signature. It's like, oh, headache, right? Or, oh, my body, I've got aches and pains, or, oh, this and that and the other. All of this stuff is going to come back up, okay? Now, this too shall pass is how you look at it. This too shall pass, okay? In the recognition that you're in a process of constant healing, constant change, constant shift, constant realignment, you've got to expect that there's going to be a physical playing out of what you would originally have called symptoms, but we're now going to not call them anything. We're going to just call them shift, or we're going to call them the physicality of my transition or something like that, right? But there are certain things that, because the body was made originally as a vessel for the denial of love, right, as it undergoes that reutilization of purpose, as that reinterpretation of purpose, the whole cellular dynamic on a very genetic level is undergoing a shift as well, right? If you took a few of your cells to a genetics laboratory, they could replicate more of your cells based on you. And if they were able to make an embryo, it would come out looking like you, right? Because the specifics of your, and they call that a clone, the specifics of your genetics are molded and coded to you as a bodily identity, okay? They're not going to come out looking like me or Tina or Gemma or, you know, anyone else. They're going to come out looking like you. Now, as you become more and more transfigured, as you become more and more transformed, they're going to start to look less like you and more like the blank kind of template for a human vessel. Okay, they're going to take on more of a neutral kind of in the moment expression, which will be just the raw building blocks of life, right? So rather than all the characteristics and genetics that we've encoded and printed on it over millions of years, we're going to go right back to the swamp, and your genetic material is going to be purified, okay, of all of that stuff. So your genetic code is going to become more and more and more pure as you shed more and more necessity to maintain some kind of integrity to a cellular kind of association, right, or a genetic association. Your body's going to feel that. You're going to get headaches. You're going to get aches and pains and all sorts of stuff. It's unavoidable. If there was a kind of divine lubricant to help you, that would be great. But we're in the year 2022, and the matrix where you can have the red pill or the blue pill hasn't happened yet, right? Maybe in the future, in a million years, they'll be here, just have this red pill and boom, Shankar, there's your transformation and your memory's back to square one. But right now, we are the pioneers of salvation doing this work, and it gets physical, right? So the ocean, the bathtub, and all of these things, one of the things that helps is getting in touch with the elemental flow of the world, okay? The elemental flow of the world, fire, earth, air, and water. I don't recommend fire. I tried it. That's another story. What happens is, in our busy Western mind world, in our busy Western mind orientation, we lose touch with Mother Nature, right? We talk about it, we think about it, we watch David Attenborough getting in touch with it, but we don't actually get in touch with it ourselves, apart from maybe we'll plant an avocado seed and, you know, we'll have the joy there of that connection, something like that. But that's a very, you know, so the relationship of body to world is the same as creator to created, all right? God to man is body to world, right? So I'm part of, as a physical entity, let's say for a second, I'm just as much a part of my world, connected to everyone and everything, as I am in the universal flow, a divine being connected to the divine, as above, so below, right? But because I'm out of touch down here on earth, I'm recognizing it in my thoughts that I'm out of touch with God, right? But that also must therefore be reflected down here on earth. I can't have one relationship out of order with the other. It's either both are true or both are not true, right? So here on earth, if I can see that my thoughts are completely screwed up, then what's screwed up about my relationship here on earth? It seems to be normal. I sit on my couch all day and watch TV. That's what people do, right? I go to work. I do a job for money. That's what people do. I do all these things. But do I take off my shoes and walk in the mud? Do I go and swim in the ocean and feel the flow of the tides and the current? Do I get in touch with a specific subtle rhythm of life that is all around me but yet I'm oblivious to it because of the sheltering of my condition that I find myself in as a modern person. You know, if you were to go to the deep Amazon and live with those tribes there that have barely seen outside people their whole existence, except for perhaps David Attenborough, but if you were to go and live in those tribes, you wouldn't fit in. All your fancy technological thinking and how life is in society and mind, you'd be dead in a week. You'd get some jungle disease, or you'd eat some berry that's the wrong thing, or some animal would just savage you from the trees. You wouldn't have the wherewithal to fit in with the natural environment, right? Those guys hear a bird going ba-boo, ba-boo up in the tree, and they know what it means. They see a certain bunch of leaves floating down the river. They know what it means, right? They don't just look, oh, pretty leaves. They know something's happened upstream in a tree that's caused leaves to fall. There's probably monkeys in a tree up there. Let's go hunt monkeys because they're good to eat, right? That's their thinking, right? Our thinking is, oh, look at those leaves. That's it. We don't connect to anything that, like, there's this kind of, you know. So when you're going through transformation, you need to connect to the flow of, and you feel it, right? This is why I'm telling you guys always to feel those subtle energies. They're really, really fine. You've got to learn to tune in through your meditation, right? You know when you need to do something. You know when you need to climb a mountain. You know when you got to go into the desert. You know when you need to swim in the ocean. And you just fob it off, right? You fob it off and you tell yourself, nah, right? And it gets to the point where all of a sudden you have a mental breakdown. You find yourself running down the main street of town naked going, eureka, eureka, I'm free, you know, and having one of these things, getting locked up. You know, you don't need to do that. It's like, fill up the bathtub with hot water, as hot as you can stand it. Immerse your whole body in it and let that feel, right? Feel it, embrace it, let it in, right? It's an elemental feeling. Go and swim in the ocean and float in the ocean for half an hour, whatever, and let the rock and the flow of the tide put you back in touch with the synchronicity of your earth-man relationship, right? Everything here has a flow. Everything here in the world, it looks like just crazy shit from every direction. But take yourself out of that crazy shit from every direction for a second and immerse yourself in something that will really, truly ground you. Okay? And you'll find that energetic of purifying yourself of the temporal baggage that you've put on will begin to flow a little easier. I don't know how to really talk about it in another way because it's experiential. Jesus doesn't really talk about it in the Course other than, you know, and in the Bible other than as above, so below. But like thousands of years of people experimenting, this is what this is, people experimenting with their spiritual transformations has brought forth some useful kind of energetics. All right. We'll call it energetics for a second. One of those other things is alone time, right? Spending some time alone, like a month at a time, 8 weeks, 3 months, whatever it takes until you feel totally comfortable with being alone, not another human being around, right? Things like that, whatever it takes. You've got, well, it's everything really. You've got everything at your disposal. So you'll feel energy in your body, right? So Tina's got it right down near her. What do you call that? Right down near your groin, that bony bit, the pelvis, right? So Tina's got this energy. I'm saying that, but I haven't checked. It's shifted up a little bit. It's somewhere up a little bit today, right? I can feel it. Right, so she's got this energy. It's sort of halfway up now. It's moving, and it moves up and down her. Well, it's nearly halfway up. It moves up and down her trunk, right, as an energetic. I don't want to say force, but as an energetic. Oh God, I don't even have a word for it. It's like when the mind changes, the body undergoes changes. Like, and in your spine, all your nervous system, everything connects through your spine, goes up. And we have this whole kind of synchronicity with, includes the body in and allows healing from the mind through the brain into the body, right? The mind is connected to the universal flow. The brain is just simply the processing plant for the body, but we become aware of things in our consciousness, which is not in our brain, but we say it's in our brain. I feel like I'm in here somewhere, blah, blah, blah. Right? But we have this, if you're in the Eastern traditions, you'd say, oh, it's my kundalini, my energy that sort of goes, and it goes up and down all the time, right? When you're new in transformation, it's clunky, right? It's stiff. It's like it's got some rust and it gets caught in places and it's hard to get up and down. And, you know, people talk about it as chakras, right? But awakening has nothing to do with the activation of glands, nothing. Chakras are a complete myth, like everything. We can talk about it that way, but it's not really helpful. It's just kind of a loose affiliation, right? But we have this energetic stuff. So when you're learning to breathe, when you're learning to transform and you're learning to heal and all of these things, you have this energy that goes up and down, up and down. And as you become more in tune with it and more in tune with your surroundings and your universal relationship, it starts to go up and down really fast. Like it vibrates to the point where you don't know whether it's going up or down. And you just feel this kind of elation. You just feel this kind of lightness of being. You just feel this kind of sense of beingness that really transcends the world, right? Because you're starting to operate on a different frequency where the world is no longer tethered to you, or you are no longer tethered to it. You sort of feel not quite like you're free from it, but like in the world, but not of it, right? Jesus would say in the world, but not of it, right? In the going through that process, in doing that, the rust that seems to be on your energetic flow or the blockages and stuff seems to be hard to get through. So getting in touch with the elemental parts of your existence, right, as it seems to be in the dream, is helpful. So for you, in wherever you're at, suburbia or in the country or what, I don't know, run a hot bath and soak in there for as long as you can, as hot as you can stand it, right? Not with the idea that the hot bath is going to soothe my muscles. It may do that. It may do all these things and relax you and whatever, but with the idea of feeling, just feeling, right? Don't try to decide what you're feeling or what you think it feels, anything like that. Just feel. Just feel. At first, there's going to be this, it's hot. I can't stay in here for long. It's hot, right? But try to let go of that definition, it's hot. Just lay there and feel the hot until you become the observer of that, until you become not interacting with the heat, but simply stepping back from it and feeling it. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Right? So you got to feel it. When you're in the ocean, right? You'll get in at first and be like, oh, it's freezing in the ocean, right? Try to let go of that and step back from the reaction, step back from the reacting mind and simply be in the ocean with the tide like this. You go, oh, yeah, right? There's a memory in you that's connected to everything, and you know how the universe feels, even in time and space. Remember, the universe itself has no meaning. It's completely neutral. It's only you that gives it the meaning of good or bad, right? You're learning to get in touch with that kind of neutral or is place, that place where it just is. It just is what it is. I don't have to define it. But I don't remember what that feels like. Oh, I'm in the ocean. Oh, this is what it feels like, right? There's this kind of harmony or a kind of a nurturing, right, that occurs in that, because you feel connecting again to something that stems right back to the primitive brain, right back to that very primal kind of sense of self. And it's very beautiful, right? It's very beautiful. It's very loving. It's very innocent. Okay. Cavemen.
Yeah, I think I've been feeling very lonely this week without the desire to see anyone. So I think that
Good.
unity with nature that you talk about might relieve that loneliness. Okay, tell me about that then.
You're trying to adjust. I think this, I think that, but your thoughts don't mean anything.
That's why I've got a headache.
Right, stay there. Ready? Now, run a hot bath as hot as you can stand it and get into the hot bath. Yes, wow, and thank you. Okay? As soon as you go, oh, I think getting back, I think this, I think that, you're getting in the way again. You're putting your own 2 cents worth in. Your thoughts don't mean anything. No one needs to hear your thoughts. Especially you.
Yeah.
Right? Let me just go by the grace of God and follow the instructions. That's all it takes. Let me follow the instructions. Right? One of the things that Ted used to always tell us was just say yes. Just follow the instructions. Don't question it. If you don't know how to do the instructions, if you don't know what the instructions mean, in your saying of yes, that the way how to do it will be presented. Okay? In the saying of yes, I'll just say yes. I don't know what the hell that means. I don't know how to do it. I don't know anything about that, but I'm just going to say yes. And then whatever it is, it'll be, right? That'll be the next thing. Yes opens your mind to the flow. Yes opens your mind to the infinite possibility of healing that is actually already occurring in you now. Okay? When you examine it, why is he telling me to run a hot bath? What's all this hocus pocus about getting into the ocean? You know, all of that stuff. I don't get it. Why would that help? How could that possibly be anything? Right? It's not anything. The universe is a dream. The whole thing is nothing. But we still find ourselves beset by it and within it. Right? And there are certain parameters within it that we can use to our advantage to affect an even flow or a nice smooth transition, right, which have been laid down since before time began, right? Now, God set a limit on time and space. It's not like time goes on forever and space goes on forever. The universe will eventually have this massive, or, you know, like popping a bubble, but it'll be done. But for now, we have this framework where within it, there's this thing called salvation, okay, where we can begin to experiment and find out for ourselves within the framework of the parameters of salvation, how it is that we best serve the interests of ourselves and others, right? One of those things is learning to say yes. One of those things is learning to say wow and thank you and help if you can't say those in any given situation. Yes, wow, and thank you. Right? Now, the things that occurs, and I know this for a fact from my own experience with it, when you do a big meditation, for example, or when you have a shift in consciousness, you'll feel this kind of disorientation. You'll feel this kind of like confusion. What's going on? I'm going through a shift. It's like, right? And you have this kind of loss of what seems to be regular daily stuff occur, right? That's normal. That's meant to happen, right? You don't have to suffer through the confusion of it, however. We used to go down to the beach, which was across the road from the healing center, and there'd be like half a dozen of us all just floating in the ocean. And for whatever reason, it sort of helped to ground you. It took you out of that idea of needing to make sense of things, whatever, and you just had to be in it. You just had to be in it. And something about that tide moving and the gentle movement, the flow, it just kind of connects you. You can't explain it. It's elemental, right? It kind of connects you back to things on a physical level that make you feel, well, I don't want to say normal because what is that? But make you feel you know, at peace again, happy again, and so hard to talk about it. You just have to do it, right? It's like when you go sailing, right? Here's a good one. When you go sailing on a sailing boat for a week or something, you take a holiday and you go on a week, you'll come back and you'll say, that's the best thing I've ever done, unless you have really shitty weather, right? Actually. So you'll go sailing and you'll come back and you'll have the best experience you've ever had. Why? Because the wind, you can't go any faster than the wind. You tune in automatically on a subconscious level to the wind. You can't get there in a hurry. If the wind stops, you stop, right? You're automatically put back into the flow of what it is that the global, universal, energetic is for you in that moment. You can't change it. You can't be out of it. You're in the flow, right? You get there. If the wind blows, you get where you're going at that speed. And when you get back on dry land and the busyness of life tends to want to sweep you up again, you'll be like, wow, I totally felt connected sailing. I felt in touch with the universe. I felt everything, because you're forced to sit on that boat and go at the speed of the wind. You can't determine anything. You can't fuck anything up, right? You have to go at the speed of the wind. It's all you got, right? It's the same thing when you're in the ocean floating. You can't tell the tide, don't swoosh me around so much, right? You can't tell the tide, I wish you would swoosh me around a bit more because that feels nice, right? You have to accept it exactly as it is. When you're in a hot bath, hot bath, right? You can't say to the hot, you can turn the taps and cheat, but you can't say to the hot bath, oh, I wish it wasn't so hot. You have to accept it as it is. And it's that motion of acceptance of that elemental level of things that allows, just for a moment, that reconnection in your own sense of self as a human being, even, right? And one of the things that happens in this energy is we get so caught up trying to not be a human being. Oh, I'm spiritual. I'm a spirit. I'm, you know, and we tend to lose sight of the very atomic level of our human experience, right? Being spiritual or pursuing a spiritual journey is very, very human. It's very, very ordinary and very, very normal. Apart from the moments where you need a miracle and then it's all hell breaks loose. But it's like that headache that you get in your body in conjunction with lessons that you're learning, in conjunction with things that seems to be going on for you mentally. Don't expect that your body's not going to react in suit, in kind, okay? So treat yourself gently. Put yourself in touch with nature, with the natural flow. Go and stand in the mud in bare feet. Feel the earth. Feel it. Feel the wind. Feel it. Feel the heat of the bath water. Feel it, right? Feel something on a physical level that you can't change, you can't do, that is completely natural and organic. Okay.
Okay, thank
Fire,
you.
earth, wind, and water. And drink plenty of water too, right? If you're not drinking enough water, if you're dehydrated, like this, the whole cellular reconstruction that's going on in you right now, like that, it's going to kind of get like sticky and, you know, it's like there's this whole loop of energy. So one of the things I see, I don't know, I probably can't talk about this at all because I don't even know how I know it or how I see it. But one of the things that I see, like, so Tina with her energy, right, that goes on with her in her back, and it's going to change soon. But one of the things I see is like an overlay, right? So Gemma's got one right in the middle of her face at the moment, right? There's this whole energetic in, like it's here. If you tune into it, you'll feel it, right? There's a ball of energy right in the middle of your face. There's like this whole thing that's there. that's going up and down, up and down, up and down, right? But it's like those overhead transparencies, and you put it on the light and then you can project it onto the wall. That's kind of how I see energy in people. I don't know how to talk about it, but I can look at you and I can just like, aha, and then I can feel that in me, right? As a physical thing, I can feel it in me and I can connect with it in me, which is how healing occurs, right? I heal that in me and it'll shift in you, right? Especially in this energy where we're practicing forgiveness, it helps to make it quicker and quicker and more, you come into an alignment. When Jesus says miracles are all right, but purification is necessary first. When you go through this purification and you're tuning into that one mind sort of vibration of energy, because that's all everything is, it's just a vibration. When you're tuning into that vibration that resonates at that level, you start to see from that vibrational place, not from your eyes, from that vibrational place as a sense of knowing. And even in this world, right, as above, so below, even in this world, that sense of knowing transfers as an idea of healing to everyone and everything, right? And so you can sort of, you can see it in others, even those who are in denial, right? Even those who are representing that denial or that idea of denial still, right? But those of you, like when Jesus had 12 disciples and he took them with him everywhere he went, those of you who are part of your own immediate kind of deal in salvation, like you guys are to me, it's like it becomes more and more apparent where you're at in the vibrational field as you go through shifts, right? Everyone else, it's like how I used to be, right, 25 odd years ago, running around out there trying to accomplish things and doing things, thinking something was actually going on. My energy field would have been, if I could have seen me back then, it would have been like, woo, 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 all over the place, like zinging off everywhere, like trying to just like no clue, testing every possible potential scenario for what I could get out of it, right? Now it's doing this, coming back in, and all of that energetic that I've been projecting out is coming back in to resonate at a certain field of energy that's doing this. Oh, and it gets to that point where it all vibrates as the one. Okay, when you guys go through stuff, it's like your energy's like woo, 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 and then you start to read the course and it's sort of like, oh, hang on, no, that's not helpful. Whoop, and you bring it back in. That's not helpful. Whoop, and you bring it back in, and you start to do the same thing. I can see that happening in you, right? I can see that. I don't know, not here with these eyes, but just energetically, I can see where it is that things are going on. And sometimes I even get an image, like a picture of a situation that you're in and things like that. So like yesterday, I saw Wesley in the River Jordan, actually. And he was a being of light. He was pure light. And there was another being there. There was somebody beside him that I think was a woman. It was like looking at a black and white negative of a photograph. And the people in the image were just illuminated, right? And I don't know if it was John the Baptist. I'd like to say it was, because that would really resonate with my emotional heartstrings. But there was somebody who pushed him under the water and held him under the water for quite a long time, actually, and let him up, right? And I said to him, you need to go and get in the water. And he had a good release yesterday. There was a good moment where something shifted there, right? But whether he goes in the water or not, I don't know. Maybe he will. But for me, it's always in the saying of yes, right? Now, here's another thing about that. In the saying of yes, you've actually already said yes to the totality of what that healing package is, what it looks like, right? So when Jesus says, give up the world and follow me, and you say yes, it doesn't necessarily entail that you have to actually physically follow him across the universe, right? You've said yes. Everything that God offered in that offering to you is contained in your willingness to say yes, right? Therefore, you could still stay home and watch Netflix, and Jesus can go off and do whatever he needs to do, right? However, make sure you're not saying yes just so you don't have to put on your sandals and go follow him. Because if it comes down to the rocky road and you do have to actually go follow him, you got to go follow him, right? But in all of these situations, you'll just know it within yourself. You'll feel it within yourself. I said yes because I actually honestly meant yes. right? If there's any hesitancy or maybe a little bit of doubt in your yes, then it's going to have to show up again in form and you'll have to go follow him, right? Because you get the results of your own thinking. When I say to you, give up the world and follow me, and you say yes, you don't know what that entails. You don't know what's ahead. You don't know anything. But in your yes, the whole thing is given to you now. The whole thing. And you'll take it on board bit by bit according to your own capacity to do that and your own willingness to do that. It'll just show up and you'll automatically go, oh, hang on, this is part of my yes. You'll recognize it, right? It'll carry the same signature as the offering, right? It'll carry the same thing where Jesus stepped in front of your face in the marketplace and said, give up the world and follow me. And you said, yes, right? No matter what occurs, it's going to remind you of that thing where you said yes to Jesus, and the situation that shows up is going to be like this, in your face. You won't be able to miss it because the Holy Spirit's going to make it so obvious to you, right? It's like you might actually see it in hindsight, right? But in seeing it in hindsight, you've still also seen it, right? It's still there in the mind. It's like, oh, I missed that opportunity. I should have invited that person in for a cup of tea, or I should have whatever. And you'll see that later on down the track, right? It's only because you have another agenda going, I've got to get to the shops, I've got to get to my bus, I've got to do this, that, and the other, whatever, right? Rather than just saying yes, right? But that initial yes to God is going to show up as opportunities to repeat that yes, right? Which is, I say yes, and then I remember that I've said it in people, situations, and events all the time. Yes, wow, and thank you, because everything is part of your salvation. Okay? Everything. There's nothing that's not a part of your salvation. Nothing. Yes, wow, and thank you. Now, that's a path of faith. That's where faith comes in. Am I really on this journey with Jesus? Did I really say yes to this? Am I really trusting this as faith? Because if I say yes to this, I'm going to have to leave my family, my home, my whatever, and I don't know what's going to happen. Great. You never wanted your family and your home anyway. What a burden. What a heavy load of bloody crap all that is. So I just want to be me. I just want to be free and roam the universe. Either that or you're still clinging on to those ideas of family and home and what that means to you, which is nothing. It's just a dream and illusion. You know, that's where you got to look at things. It's like, all right, am I really saying yes to giving up the world? Am I really? Do I really want salvation? Do I really want to get on with the journey of my soul and go into the next dimensional reality, onward, onward, onward? Or do I want to stay here in this puddle of mud and do it all again next time? Right? You've really got to look at that. That's the choice. That's what you're saying yes to. Right? And it doesn't mean that you actually have to get up and say ta-ta to your family and friends and everything else like that, but it means that you begin to see them differently. My family and friends have been playing a part for me as these relationships that I've tried to define in order to give myself meaning. Now I'm going to let them go from that part. I'm going to see them as the Christ along with me, and I'm just going to enjoy their presence when I'm in it as my brothers in Christ, without making them special compared to other people who I once would have thought aren't my brothers in Christ, right? We're all one, as above, so below. It's like that guy that you sent me the water cans, Tina. The Rasta man, if you've got a blue can and a white can and a green can and a black can, all these different colored cans, and you fill them up with water and you put the lids on, right? You don't know what's inside each one, right? But how do you know what's inside each one? You judge them by the color on the outside, but they're all the same on the inside, right? So you're seeing through the vision of Christ, everyone's the same. It doesn't matter the skins, it doesn't matter the vessel, the body, the shape, the size, the orientation, the story, none of that matters. All that matters is what's inside, because love is content, not form. Love is content, not form. Give up the world and follow me. one of the other things, whilst we're on body stuff, and body stuff's good to do, good to look at, is like being honest with where you're at. Like that second block, the belief the body's valuable for what it can offer. It offers pleasure, right? And it also offers pain. It offers everything within the range of those, that scale. And you try to have the one and avoid the other, generally, unless you're a, what is that, a masochist or something that likes pain and likes the, is that a masochist? I can't think what it, there's a word for it anyway. Be honest about that, okay? One of the hardest things to confront is your blocks, right? One of the hardest things to look at honestly is your blocks. And we tend to play this game of, I know it's there, I can see that I have to deal with this, but, you know, I've got a good thing going on here, I'll deal with it later, whatever. Because we have this funny sense that there will be a loss associated with the release of whatever it is that we think that block represents to us, okay? Now, if you think there's going to be a loss associated with it, you're going to be fearful of the healing. You're going to be fearful of going through that process of healing, because what's on the other side? What if I come out of it and I've lost all interest in the pleasures of the body, or the pain of the body, or what the body can get me, or what it represents, right? That's a possibility, right? It's a distinct possibility, and eventually you're going to lay the body aside anyway, whether through old age, sickness, or disease, and you're not going to have that anyway, right? So looking at the big picture, right? Looking at the really big picture. What do I want? Do I want to lay my body aside? Am I really in a process of transformation where I'm telling Jesus, yes, I'm done with this world? Or is there something here a little bit, I still want to just, maybe the next relationship will give me what I'm looking for, you know? Maybe that nobody does it better. You know, that James Bond, maybe that's just around the corner. You know, the allure is there. There's always this hope for the next best partner or the next lover that you just can't leave, and all of this sort of stuff, or that attraction to someone that beats you up on a daily basis and calls you shit and makes you feel bad. That's an attraction also, right? It's kind of crazy if you ask me, but some people actually love being beaten and abused, and verbally, mentally, physically, whatever. So the body has the ability to translate those sense of self in both of those directions, you know, that dichotomy of what that represents. So learning to be aware of it, okay? Learning to be aware of it. What am I doing here? What am I really looking at my blocks, right? It's like, I know perfectly well that there was a point for me in my life where a sexual encounter with someone of the opposite sex would have been seen as like a pinnacle experience in my life. It's like, oh, yes, this is going so well. We're on our second date, you know, and I don't want to fuck it up and all of this, and maybe we'll have sex tonight, and there's this whole thing, and that'll be meaningful, and it'll mean something, and it'll be amazing, and then that solidifies my relationship, and it concretizes it into something that's tangible to me, right? Rather than having it be out here in the spheres, not really knowing whether we've got something going on. And people always ask the question to each other, it's like, where are we headed in this relationship? I think we should take it to the next level. It's like, there are no levels. There's nowhere to head. Just be in it and enjoy it exactly as it is, right? If you have sex, you have sex. If you don't, you don't. It's fantastic either way, right? When you go through the block, when you go through the healing of that block around the use of sex, right? So Jesus says that the only real use of sex is for the procreation of the stock. He calls us stock, like cattle. It's not very flattering, but then I've tended to have given myself some rather more flattering acronyms and things than that, you know, than calling myself stock. But anyway, so be it. When you see it rightly, it is stock. This, how many bodies is this I've had? This is like my 400th and something or other body, more stock. You know, it's kind of funny. It gives you a sense of how indifferent those who are above us in the multi-dimensions how indifferently they look upon our experience, you know, like we're the stock. It's like, oh man, really? But anyway, so you're looking at that idea of loss. You know, it's the same with any of the blocks, the fear of death, right? If I give up my fear of death, then how will I be able to enjoy the fear of death again, right? If I give up my belief the body's valuable, how will I be able to enjoy the body again? All these sorts of things, right? You'll find out when you give it up, right? If your purpose is true, there will be no loss. If you're true about the healing will occur. If not, you're going to have to stay on this side of the block looking at it again until you become true to do it, until you become true to go beyond that blockage, okay? That's just how it is. So prior to enlightenment, I think my last relationship I had with a woman prior to enlightenment was very fulfilling for me. She was incredibly beautiful, and she was a big ego status symbol for me to have her hanging off my arm and all this kind of thing. A great boost for the ego, you know, and it's like the ego obviously sensing its demise brings to you all these kinds of glorious, shiny things. And here, shiny things. Don't look at God, but here, shiny things. And this girl showed up like weeks before my enlightenment. And she was stunning and beautiful, said all the right things and was great in bed, and all, like everything was just all ticked all the boxes. And then after all of that vanished, she, like it just like in the twinkling of an eye, after my enlightenment, she was still there, the whole thing, but I could not see her any differently as if I was looking at my grandmother. Like it was just like, oh my God, everyone's the same. Like she's not special all of a sudden. It wouldn't matter who's hanging off my arm. I'm just as happy whether it's someone else or whatever, you know, even a guy or whatever. It's like, no, the physical nature of things didn't matter at all, not at all. It was completely immaterial, right? There was no such thing as good sex or bad sex. It was just sex. It's like, I felt like I could just as easily get as much satisfaction drinking a cup of tea as making love with some movie star who's on the A-list or something, you know, like it was just like, that's salvation. It pulls the rug out from under your feet. And it's like, what you get, right? What you get, you get. You learn to become satisfied with the very ordinary and the very just, it is what it is, right? There's no judgment. And the other side of that is there's no like gazing around looking for who the next best thing is that's coming along and all of this sort of thing, you know, like no wandering eyes or like, it's just, the whole thing is done. The dream is over. There's still a connection with things, but you kind of accept it as if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. There's no driven behavior. There's no ego drive to get. There's no ego drive to accomplish. There's none of that stuff. What comes into view and comes into arrangement as a relationship does so for the purpose of healing, whether you still find yourself having sex within that framework or not, right? Or being abused within that framework or not. Because all of these things are only ideas that I think about myself in relationship to what I think is someone else, right? And it's not. Finally, I'm just having sex with myself. It's just me. Everything's me. I put my finger on my nose. It's like, wow, this is what it's like to have sex with me. Gemma, you should know that. You feel that all the time. This is what it's like to have sex with me. Right? You do. I know you do. I can see it in you. Like there's this whole like, right. We won't go any further there. Don't want to get into that depth of water. Right. So everything's just energy. Everything's just energy. Okay. It's going all over the place, doing everything, and you're bringing it in. You're inviting it in now. It's like I've reached that place in my mind where I've gone, hang on a minute, this is crazy. This dream's crazy. I see there's no solution for me to be happy here because it depends on something else occurring, not occurring, whatever. I'm done with that. Now I just want to be happy for the reason that God would have me be happy is because I know what I am. Right? I know who I am. That's an inner sense of self, and you have to feel it. Okay? You feel that. The same way when you can feel, oh, and this is a really good one, actually. I should have given you guys this one right back on day one. Maybe you weren't ready for it. But you know when you can feel an orgasm coming on, right? Since we're talking sex and block number 2 and things. You know when you can feel it, I'm assuming you've all had an orgasm. Yeah. Anthea, yep. We're all nodding, everybody nodding. Yep. You know when you can feel it starting to come on, it's like, I'm coming, and you can feel that thing. Right, now, that sense of feeling it coming on is the same spiritual sense of feeling like being sucked into the light. Exactly the same, right? The ego always misinterprets the miracle impulse as a sexual impulse, right? When you do your meditation, right, the mind wants to, the ego speaks first, always wants to associate it with the body and bodily extremities and situations, right? The Christ in you, it's like, I can feel something, right? I feel an orgasm. No, it's not an orgasm. It's just a moment. You know what an orgasm is? It's a moment where you've let go enough to allow the natural flow of your body to perpetuate the medical condition for the sperm to be able to get in there and do what it needs to do. That's all that is, right? That's why you have all these senses and feelings. It's like, I love doing this. I love having sex. And it's like, of course you do. Otherwise you wouldn't get together and make babies, right? There has to be some sensation. It's like, what the hell doing all that ugly stuff and it's wet and sweaty and the whole thing. And it's like, unless it felt good, right? It's just like, seriously, like it's like, what is that? But, and then when you meditate, you get into a moment where for a second you feel, and it feels as if you can feel it coming on, right? There's something coming on here, going on. It feels like there's something going on and you can feel it coming on. It's like, oh, I feel something. But as soon as you stop to examine what it is you're feeling, you put yourself out of that frame again, right? As soon as you stop to examine it, it stops. It's like, oh, what happened then? There was something occurred in my mind, boop, 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 right? So the mind training is learning to let go of that analytical mind, that mind that wants to judge it and try to decide what's happening, okay? Getting hot in here, girls, is it? I can see, right? It's funny. You have to confront it all at some time, you know. You got to like be, you know, there's nothing taboo in spirituality. You know, I went to actually I didn't end up going because it was $800 and I refused to pay for healing, but they have a I probably should have gone now, but anyway, they have a class in Byron Bay run by this couple, and they're a very Zen sort of couple, and it's a sex class, like it's a, what do they call that, tantric sex, and they take 8 couples at a time, right? 8 couples who feel they're open to whatever it is, and they're all naked in this room together, and no one's allowed to touch each other, but you sit very close with each other, and you practice breathing, and you go into all this sexual thing. And everybody orgasms and has these releases and stuff without actually any physical touch at all. And I think the whole purpose of the workshop is to show you that actually it's happening in the mind, not in the body, not in the bodily connection, right? So everything's an idea in the mind. And like obviously when you see these things, they advertise, like in Byron Bay, they advertise, it's a spiritual town. It's like Mount Shasta or whatever, I think, in America, where everybody's very spiritual, right? So I didn't go. It was too much money, and who does that? Who pays for healing? All I have to do is say yes to it, and it's like, oh, pass the tissues. So we're looking at the idea then, I'm getting off track. We're looking at the idea then of that as a shift in consciousness, Anthea, right? As a shift in consciousness, you're looking at ideas of healing and blocks. No, we're not looking at that. Look at all you little second graders giggling there in the front. You're funny. So I'm funny. So, all right, let's start something else. Change the subject. I've gotten off the subject. Oh, so being on a physical level, right? Think it's a physical transformation. You got to include everything in. So sex is something you have to include it in. I've got to look at that. I've got to be that. It's like everything is energy, absolutely everything. And it's represented in your life, in your story as I have a certain amount of energy around this idea and this interest, that idea and that interest, these ideas and these interests and these. Some of them you don't care less about. I'm not into contact sports, or maybe I am into contact sports or whatever. Some of them I'm never going to be into stamp collecting. I have no energy around that. But if I'm collecting porcelain cups with pictures of Winnie the Pooh on them, maybe that's something that really gets me on, you know. So who knows what it is. So you got to look at, I know people that collect porcelain cups with pictures on them. My cousin collects porcelain cups with pictures of black and white spotted cows. Now, you tell me what that is. I have no clue, right? Milking cows. She has milking cow jugs, milking cow cups and plates and all these sorts of things. Little statuettes of milking cows. This is salvation. I'm telling you, this is salvation. It's what it looks like. There's nothing taboo. You've got to get right down into the crazy stuff. It's like milking cows is, you know, we'll go with that. So everything carries a signature. Everything carries an energetic signature that represents your yes. You're going to pick up on it in your own particular framework because you're the one that's made your framework. You're the one that's woven all those interconnected ideas about what it is you think you are as a way to maintain your identity, right? When you come across one of those interconnected points where all of a sudden this person and that person and that person, we'll all find ourselves talking about black and white cows, all of a sudden it's going to activate kapow. I remember somebody talking about black and white cow cups and black and white cow plates, or I've seen black and white cows in a field. There's a whole memory package there, right? Which if you're abiding with the spirit, you'll recognize as a frequency that relates to your yes, your original yes. It'll carry the same signature, right? Otherwise, if you miss it, you'll go through the whole day and then maybe you'll be sitting down watching TV at night and go, oh man, I missed an opportunity to heal something in my mind today. I saw that I had an association and a connection with it on a level that's tangible to me, and I didn't apply the stepping back. I didn't ask the Holy Spirit to help me see this differently. I didn't, whatever it is, you know, like your own process. It's like I had a guy came into my little tattoo studio the other day and he had one fingernail painted blue with a white cross on it, right? And he's an older guy. He was older than me and he had a little, tiny little beard, hardly any hair grown, like a 5-day growth. He called it a beard. But I looked at his fingernail because he had his hand on the counter. I think he purposely wanted me to see it. And he was talking about getting a little dove tattoo. Now, this guy was probably 80. And at first I took it on face value about a dove tattoo and everything like that, right? And then he asked me about my beard and he said something about, oh, that's just an image or something like that. And he said, do you think I could grow one that good? You know, and I'm thinking this guy's a bit odd, you know, like in my own mind, I'm forming already. I see myself forming a picture, right? A judgment, a whole thing about what the hell's going on here. This guy's wasting my time. He's just some crazy old goomer that's come in to have a chit chat about nothing in particular. And he just went on and on and on. And because I was busy, right? This is the excuse I'll give myself. Because I was busy, I missed the opportunity, right? He came and went. And there was a moment there, I didn't realize till I got home. It's like that guy was like sent in to my shop to see where I was at in a certain situation from those guys up there, right? it was really like he had a secret clipboard and he was asking me questions that he was waiting for a response to in a certain regard. And I didn't respond in a certain regard, you know, and I didn't see it until I got home. And I'm like, oh man, there was a whole nother thing that could have happened in that situation if I had to just step back from my thoughts about this guy's wasting my time. Maybe he needs to be in the nursing home. All these thoughts I had, you know, they weren't really upsetting thoughts, but I could see that they were thoughts that were trying to get me to adjust from that situation. Right? They were trying to take me away from that old guy, wasting my time, this whole story that I had going on. And I missed it. I missed the opportunity to join with him. But I did get in the one moment where he said something. He wanted the tattoo as a memorial for someone who'd passed. And I said to him, there's no such thing as death. I stared him straight in the face and said that. And I think that might have been my saving grace in that situation. I don't know. I'll probably find out later. He said to me, he said, oh, we're on the same page then, you know, like that. So I'm like, yeah, well, there really is no page, but yeah, we're on it, I guess. So, you know, that's, but anyway, it's funny, you know, so like in that saying of yes, he was one of my opportunities. That guy definitely, because I saw it in retrospect. I saw it in hindsight when I got home. It was like, it was so obvious that there was like, Jesus couldn't have put up a sign any brighter that said, you know, opportunity, like neon flashing. And it was like, and I missed it, right? It's like, that's why I'm teaching this, because the dunce hat, you know, it's like very, very brave or the very, very stupid, says Krishnamurti. I think I'm starting to understand which of those I am. So, but anyway. Any questions? Where we at, Anthea? You good? That's a yes. Good. Hot bath. Gemma? Close your eyes for a second. Sit up straight. Do you ever do any wrestling or anything like that, or kickboxing or anything really physical?
I used to do. I go
Oh,
to the gym. I used to do.
Okay. Oh, that's good. All right. Cool. Good. Anyone else? Anyone got anything? Anna, you still there? Vivian, what's going on?
I'd like to ask a question. One of the things that came up for me today was speaking with a friend about the future. Right. About, you know, I'm in a particular thing right now, but I need to begin to create or establish, you know, the days to come. How do you do that?
How do I do what?
Think about the future, as
I don't.
The future in the physical realm.
Right, I don't.
Really.
Right. So here's the thing with that, right? So you're learning to live in the now. Yeah. Forget about the past. I tell you guys stories about things that have happened to me in the past and stuff, because it might be useful. And you might be able to see a reflection of your own transformational process in those stories, right? Other than that, there's no purpose for me to tell you a story at all. You know, when you get two people and they meet in the marketplace and they just start telling each other stories and stuff, there's no purpose. They don't even know why they're doing that. They have no purpose for it. They think it's communication. They think that it makes them a greater bond. If they tell each other enough stories, they'll become better friends, right? Things like that. If they hang out in different places and all of that, right? It's not real. One friend sleeps with the other one's husband, and then the next thing you know, they're not friends anymore. It doesn't matter how many stories they want to tell, right? So everything's a story. You telling me the story of my friend and we've got to plan something for the future and blah, 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 whatever it is, right? I'm telling you to live in faith. Okay? That's all I'm ever going to tell you. You can make all the plans you want. And if you don't have any attachment to how that ought to look or whether they come to fulfillment or not, then that's okay. But if you put hope and attachment to them and they fail you, you're going to become depressed again. And you're going to be right back in that same mindset of thinking that you were in before you came to the course. Okay? The veil will drop again. So I'm telling you, let go of the future. Don't worry about it. Live in faith. Tell your friend, hey, that's your deal. If you want to worry about the future, that's fine. But I'm giving up the world and following Jesus. I'm learning to live here and now. You got to declare yourself, Viv, right? When you find yourself getting caught up in a situation and someone's talking at you, right? They talk at you. They don't actually talk to you because they don't know what you are, right? They're talking to you, these figures in your dream. They're talking like Vivian, blah, 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 blah. And the next thing you know, you're responding, oh, yeah, blah, 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 blah. And you make this kind of agreement about the future together. It's like, why would you do that? Right? Leave the moment blank. Let God take care of the future. Leave it to God. Got it? There already is a perfect future for you. There already is a perfect plan in place that includes you in it. Why would you want to void yourself of being included in it by trying to attempt your own mastery of something that you have no control over anyway? You're just as likely to get hit by a bus in the street tomorrow and then, back here as a baby the day after. You have no clue. Right? Leave it to God. Either that or you're just digging a grave. And thank you for my hearing. That's my healing. It's always my healing. You teach what you need to learn. I'm always worried about the future and I'm always letting it go. I worry, I let it go. I worry, I let it go. I worry, I let it go. What about my daughter? I let it go. What about this person? I let it go. What about that person that's telling me something? I let it go. I'm always coming back to God. Always coming back to God. Okay. It's like yesterday we had our election here and we had to all go and vote. And the day before I'm sitting there going, who the hell am I going to vote for? I don't know anything about voting. I had to go and vote because I don't want to pay the $50 fine or whatever. I don't even know what it is if you don't vote. So I'll just go and vote. And I got there, right? I got to the voting place and I thought, I'll just know which one to vote for. I'll just know. And there was all these people wearing different colored T-shirts and holding signs about who to vote for out the front. You couldn't get in without having to go past all these people and they're trying to give you stuff, like vote for this and vote that way. And there was this one woman wearing an orange shirt, sitting by herself eating a sandwich. She couldn't care less about all the bloody hoop-de-doo that was going on out the front. She was sitting out the front, off to the side with the sandwich. And I thought, she looks peaceful. I'll go and talk to her. She looks calm. I'll go and talk to her. So I went over and she was representing one particular thing. And I said, who do you want me to vote for? And she said, I'd like you to vote for this person. And so I did. That was it. That was my relationship and it was perfect. I didn't have to worry. I didn't have to worry about it or make a decision. All I had to do was vote. Not vote for the right person or not the wrong person. I just had to vote. Right? That was it. I'm fully aware that my vote makes no difference to the script. No difference at all. Right? It doesn't. Death is death and life is life. I give unto God what is God and Caesar what is Caesar's. Right? But I'm not going to deny the customs of the human race. It's like if we have to go and vote, we have to go and vote. And I'm still part of that system for a moment. So be it. But I'll let my vote be completely miraculous and I'll be guided by it. Right? That's how it went. I don't even know what the result today. We should find out, I suppose, but I don't know what the results are. I'll laugh my head off if the person I voted for gets in. I don't even know who they are. My brother in Christ, disguised as a politician. Does that answer your question, Vivian?
Yeah. It's hard to accept.
Right, of course it is. It's a journey of faith. You can't accept it without taking a leap of faith. Until you take that actual leap of faith and let go of your plans for the future, then you're going to be standing on the precipice, not leaping of faith. You're actually standing there looking at it. Shall I? Will I? It's hard to accept. I don't know whether I can do that. I'm telling you, the choices is this. You either take a leap of faith and find God, or you don't and find death. That's it. Okay. Now, which of those is more important to you? Right. You're going to lay that body down anyway, right? Eventually that body is going to be eaten by the worms and you're not going to have the use of it anymore. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, which is the reasonable choice to make given that conclusion? God or death? God or death?
God, eternity.
Right.
Yes.
There's you have a comedian in England. Oh my God, he's a transvestite comedian. Anna, you should know him. Come on, Gemma.
Eddie Izzard.
Eddie Izzard, that's him. Eddie Izzard. Eddie Izzard has this incredible skit. I forget what it is. I think it's cup of tea or death. Tea or death, tea or death, something like that. One of his skits that he does, and I laugh every time he does it, just his mannerisms and his whole thing, you know, like it's just perfect. And it's like you must choose tea or death, tea or cake, or maybe it's cake and death. So, but it's so funny. But that's the decision you're making in every moment. Life or death, life or death. Salvation or the world, salvation or the world. Right? Here and now or past and future. Here and now or past and future. It's the same thing. Only in the here and the now, right, can you master the art of the stillness of the mind. And you need to master the art of the stillness of the mind because that's where you have to be in your meditation. Right? It doesn't matter whether you grow old and live in a barrel on the side of the highway or whether you have a palace. None of that matters. All that matters is love. All that matters is God. Right? And you've got to look at that. It's like, all right, you don't have to, not because I say so, but I look at that, or I have looked at that in the past, and I've had these ideas. Well, what's the worst that could happen? I rot away for the rest of my life in jail, or I live the rest of my life as a pauper in the streets begging, or you know, I'll go and join a Buddhist community and get one meal a day and dig their gardens and do whatever. It doesn't really matter. You know, whatever is going to occur anyway. Let it be by the grace of God, not by my industrious working out the future, because you can't. You know, if your interest is the world, then so be it. That's what you'll get. If your interest is the maintenance of the body, so be it. That's what you'll get. If your interest is the kingdom of heaven, that's what you'll get. Okay.
Are they mutually exclusive?
Absolutely. You can't have a foot in both camps and you can't serve two masters. You must choose. Unless you live by faith alone, you shall not enter the kingdom of heaven. Unless you live by faith alone, you shall not enter the kingdom of heaven. You cannot take your doubts, your fears, and your worries into the kingdom of heaven. You don't let a pedophile into a kindergarten. You don't let a mass murderer into a high school. Right? It happens. That shit happens in the dream, but it happens. They are mutually exclusive. It's black or white, yes or no, life or death. You either want it or you don't want it. You either live a life following Jesus or you don't. You can't follow him part way. You can't follow him some of the way. When he walks off across those hills of Galilee, you're either in it for the whole thing or why bother? You know, you can't reach two goals at the same time. And you've got to see that your attempt to master your future is a deliberate attempt to deny God. Deliberate. It's not something you feel that you have a duty of care about because it's responsible. It's a deliberate attempt to tell God to get lost, right? All my thoughts are deliberate. All my thoughts are vengeful, and they're cunning and vicious and suspicious and baffling. And I make all the decisions about those thoughts that I have in my head, supposedly under my own best interests, right? But they're not, because I don't know what my own best interests are. I do not perceive my own best interests. Okay? You think your own best interests are to plan for a future where you have food on the table and a roof over your head at a minimum, right? How do you know? How do you know? You would have to be a body to do that. You would have to be a body to have those concerns. You have to learn to live from spirit. Live from the light within you that is there now. Live from spirit, Vivian. I say to myself, teach what you need to learn. You have to learn to become strong in the ways of the spirit and forgive yourself when you fail. Forgive yourself when you fall down. Get up, dust yourself off, and just keep going. I'm coming, Jesus. Wait for me. I just fell over a bit. I just fell down one of these sandy hills in Galilee and I got a stone in my shoe. Let me just take out the shoe. I'm coming, right? Just keep going, Vivian. Just keep going. That's it. Yes. All right. Any questions? Everybody good? No hands up. Anthea, you're looking radiant. There's a glow happening. There's something there. Since we mentioned sex, I think you were afraid that wasn't going to be included. You'll be down the pub tonight with your shoes on. Hey. Do it. Go on. Go out and have fun. You can't live a life alone as an old spinster forever. Go out and get involved in some horrible situation that you can apply forgiveness to. It'll do you the world of good. Well, you got to. You got to. What are you going to do? Sit at home on the couch watching Neighbours forever? Well, buddy, it's a terrible bloody...
Hangovers are such good lessons to apply forgiveness, I've found.
Right.
They bring up so much stuff.
Right, good. Go and get amongst it, Gemma. Go and get amongst it. You know, it's like, it's all out there. It's like, here I am, Lord, use me. Go and stand at the local bar or the local tavern or the local marketplace. Someone's going to come up to you and go, hey, want to go for a drink? And you can either say yes, wow, and thank you, or you can go, oh, let me think about that for a second. Right? It's as simple as that. It really is as simple as that. Right? What are you afraid of? What the hell are you afraid of? It's like salvation is presented to you through every person, every moment, every opportunity. All you got to do is say yes. All you got to do is want it.
It's always yes.
It is for me.
I don't know. Is it no sometimes good?
Well, I mean, you know, you've got a brain for a reason.
Yeah.
If somebody hands you a shotgun and says, come on, Vivian, we're going to go and rob a bank. I mean, you know.
That would be a good no time, wouldn't it?
Do you really need to get the results of your own thinking robbing a bank? I don't think so. No. You could probably say no in that situation, you know. But it's like if you can see that the situation is something that offers the opportunity for growth, right? Say yes. And if you find you have resistance to saying yes, ask for help. It doesn't mean you have to continue to say yes, but it means you're going to ask for help. All right? Because it's not resistance to what's being presented, it's resistance to love. Love is everything. God is everything. It shows up as this person, that situation, this event. And you'll say, oh, no. You're actually saying no to love, right? I want my opportunities to look differently. I want them to be more handsome or more pretty or more whatever. more rewarding, right? It's like one thing leads to the next, to the next, to the next, right? One moment of healing proceeds logically from one situation to the next situation, right? You'll know when the use by date for it is done. You'll know when the time's up. It's because you'll feel a sense of total gratitude for what's been offered. It's like, wow, thank you. Thanks for playing that part for me. I went through a whole process of healing over this last 12 months with you or in this situation or whatever it is. That's been awesome. And I see that that's done now. Now, maybe you'll stick around and have more situations, more awesome. It wouldn't really matter. Or maybe you'll step back from the whole thing and have another relationship, or who knows? I don't know how it's meant to look, right? But it's like you'll know when the moment's healed, when the situation you come together for is healed, because you'll feel gratitude. Yes, wow, and thank you. Okay. Now, in the middle of all of that is going to be hell. When you get with somebody and you have a relationship with someone and the honeymoon period wears off and you start to notice their bad habits, and then you like have these little bickering things and they turn into arguments and the whole thing. And it's like, what the hell happened to that beautiful soul that I met on the beach that day, and we were drinking pina coladas, and like now we're just like sitting watching Neighbours. Like, what the fuck? Right? Exactly. Right? But all of that is bringing up your stuff, not theirs. All of that is bringing up your baggage, not theirs.
Yeah.
If you see baggage in them, it's the baggage that you've projected onto them to play out that part for you, to show you your stuff.
Yeah.
Got it? You wouldn't react to it at all if it wasn't your stuff. You would have no reaction. You wouldn't even notice them picking their nose at the restaurant table. It's like, oh my God, I didn't notice you did that. I watch a lot of Seinfeld. Seinfeld's a study of social habits. It's really funny. You can see why everyone in America needs therapy. Just got to watch Seinfeld. And he went on to do another series called Coffee in Cars with comedians or something like that. And it's like, really? You're going to take that complete flop of a series called Seinfeld and make another one called Coffee in Cars? It's disastrous. Anyway, should we do a little meditation? Should we do some healing? Gemma, you need some healing. Can you feel it in there? Right, so you can feel it. And it's radiating, it's out here, it's radiating, it's sort of like this. Right, it's right there. Good. So we're gonna push that. Excellent. We're gonna push that. Close your eyes. Anthea, sit up straight. Anna, where are you sitting? Are you leaning against a wall or something? Or you have a chair, comfortable chair? You look like you're in a pyramid with slopey walls going up. Might be just the camera.
I'm sitting on the floor.
Oh, okay. All right, that's good. All right, sit up nice and straight. Take a few deep breaths. And we're going to feel. Close your eyes. Close your eyes. Let go. Right, you got to let go. Jesus is standing in front of you saying, Vivian, give up the world and follow me. What about my future, Jesus?
Yes.
You see how ridiculous that question is when Jesus is standing in front of you asking you to give up the world and follow him? Mm-hmm. Would you even have the audacity to ask him, what about my future, Jesus? You would just trust him, wouldn't you? You would just totally trust him. The guy just made loaves and fishes enough to feed 5,000 people. He just walked on the water. He just healed the blind. And you want to ask him about tomorrow? It's like, yes, Jesus, here I am. Here I am, Lord. I'm not going to forsake you for anything. I am not going to forsake my yes for anything. My yes is your heart and my heart together. That's what that is. It's a sacred bond. It's a sacred union. Don't break it. Don't become a bad lover for Jesus. All right, breathe. Breathe in. Breathe out. Gemma, feel the top of your head. You have a bun thing going on there. Take it out. Let your hair down. Good. Feel the top of your head. Put your fingers up there and scratch your head right in the crown. Scratch it. Feel it right in the middle. Okay. Now, where that is, put your hands down and feel. Put your hands down and feel that where you've been scratching. Breathe in and breathe out through where that place is you've been scratching. Breathe out. Think up. Focus on that place you were just scratching. Focus on it. When you breathe out, focus there. Gently focus. Gently breathe. Gently focus and gently breathe. You should start to feel like a little trickle of air coming out of the top of your head. That's what it'll feel like. It's just energy. Focus there. 3 or 4 breaths, you can feel it, right? Good. Now focus on that for a moment. Just focus on feeling that little energetic flow in the top of your crown. You should all be able to do it. It's kind of weird, right? It's like, oh, I didn't know I had a blowhole there, like a dolphin. But now that I'm telling you about it, you're aware of it, right? Focus. Now, you have other blowholes. If I tell you where they are, you're going to turn me off, right? You have one at the top and you have one at the bottom. I'm not going to be specific. You can use your imagination, right? I want you to breathe in from the one in the bottom and feel the flow of that energy going up and out through the one in the top when you breathe out. If you have to use creative visualization for a second, do so. Imagine a stream of air passing through you as if you were a hollow tube, okay, as if you were a conduit. Imagine energy just coming up and up and out, like cycling around you and coming back up again through the bottom and out through the top like a fountain, and the water falls down in the fountain. It gets sucked back into the pump at the bottom and it gets pushed up and out the top again. Okay? Breathe like that. And feel. Try to connect with how you feel. Now, Gemma, I want you to take 2 fingers and put them on your third eye, just between your eyes, just above there. Okay? And just put a light pressure, just a light pressure against your forehead, and continue to breathe. Can you feel that moving? You feel it, right. You feel that moving from your face and it's going up to where your fingers are. Right, good. Now, just stay there breathing like that for a second. Don't worry about anything else. Just do that and just hold it there. And when you feel ready, take those fingers away from your forehead and just relax and just keep breathing. You are healed and you can heal. Now, for the next 3 or 4 days, I want you to do that every day as a daily practice. Just at some point in the day, probably in the evening, just before you go to bed. Okay? Keep your awareness up, your energy up, and let's see what happens with that. It's just like a little shift, a little adjustment. Same thing, Tina, right? Same thing. You've got that energy. It's sort of, where is it now? I can't even see it. Oh, it's there. It's right between your breasts, but at the back. It's like, it's right there in the middle bit. Same thing. Just feel it. Just breathe with it in and out. When you start to learn to breathe with your flow, right, which is what that is, it's just an energetic flow and sort of has moments where it looks like it's here and there. When you start to breathe with that flow, you should start to feel a certain tingling in your cells, in your cellular level. And you'll be able to control that tingling after a while to send it to different parts of your body just by thinking about sending it there. Okay, so if you get a bruise or whatever, you can send that healing energy, which you can call chi, or you can call the light, or you can call whatever, to any part of your body that feels like it needs it. But first, you've got to learn to get in touch with it, right? You are the spirit of love. You are the spirit of holiness. You are the Holy Spirit. You are the healer. You're not separate from that. It's you, right? Physician, heal thyself. And it's always going to be an act of faith. You can't work it out. You can just work with it. You can just learn how to work with it. Anthea, same thing with your headache. Same thing in the back of your head. Okay. I want you to take your open hand and put it against your throat. Take your open hand and put it against your throat, just gently, just one hand. Just hold it there gently. Okay. And breathe. I want you to feel the energy at the back of your head. Feel it like a ball. Feel it like it feels like a ball of wool, like dirty wool that's pushing there. Like muddy water or muddy, there's something, I'm getting a dark, muddy kind of thing going on there, right? It feels like it has the texture of wool, a ball of wool. Feel it. Breathe in and out. Try to get a sense of it. This will be a difficult one to connect with because you've so long been habituated to labeling it a headache, and the idea of headache is predominant, right? That's what you're going to have to let go of in order to heal. That idea of headache. A hot bath will help. It'll help to get you in touch with more organic sort of sense of self, right? But you've got to learn that healing, you've got to take it on board that healing is something that, there you go. Just felt it move, right? Healing is something that's not only your right, but it's your natural gift on earth. You are a healer. But so long have denied it that it seems like, what the hell? What do you mean I'm a healer? Think of it as energy. Everything's just energy. Can you feel that in your throat now? Right. You can feel it coming forward. Keep your hand there. Keep your hand there. Don't take it away. Just stay there breathing. Take that scarf off if you need to. Right. I want you to put the palm of your hand flat as you can against your throat. Up a bit higher. Yep, there. Right there. Just feel there. And just breathe into it. You should start to feel a kind of a mass in your throat, like a gluggy kind of energetic presence there, like not like you're going to puke, but just like a energy. That's all I'll call it. Okay. And just stay there until it dissipates. Stay there until it's gone, until it's done. Just breathe in and out. In and out. Good. Anna, that's good. You're doing good. You have stuff going on in your rib cage, around under your arms, under your armpits, sort of in that area. Can you feel that? Is there something there, or am I just making it up? Don't know. There's something. It's like around your lungs. Just breathe in and out. Vivian, that's good. Stay true to your yes. Learn to breathe, learn to feel as you're breathing. I'm not going to worry about forgiveness for a second. We're just going to try and connect with the beingness that we are, even in this world, for a moment. Okay. You guys already know about forgiveness. You already know now to forgive yourselves your judgments of others. That should be a process that we no longer really have to keep going over and over and over. That's like an entry-level kind of awareness. We want to go deeper now. We want to find something more celestial about our being, something more in touch with the universe about our being. We're still going to do the groundwork. We're still going to practice forgiveness and all of these things. It's not like you ever sort of lose sight of that. It'll accompany you throughout your journey. But we're going to get in touch with something more heavenly, more divine, more energetic by feeling it, learning to feel and pay attention to the energetic centers or the energetic sense of self that we have even in the body. We include the body in. My headache, this. My bad back, that. My sinuses, this. The ego is always going to want to label it as a physical ailment or a physical something. But the purpose of the Holy Spirit is healing. And that's the only purpose it has. So therefore, that's all there is. What I call a headache, it's healing. What I call a sinus, it's healing. But I've been so long accustomed to calling it something else, I have to break those bad habits and allow it to be the work of the Holy Spirit in me doing what needs to be done. Because I said yes to Jesus. I said yes to following him across the hills of Galilee. And I'm not going to cheat on him now. I may forget. I may get lost in the wilderness again here and there. But I have my brothers who are my mighty companions, who will stand with me and remind me and lift me up, just as I am their brother's keeper. It's one love, one people, one world under God. In eternity and beyond. Feel. That feels better, Anthea, doesn't it? I can feel that now, like in your throat. Put the palm of your hand flat there. Put the palm of your hand as flat as you can, even if you have to put your head right back. That's it. Hold it there and breathe in and out. Here I am, Lord. Here I am, Father. A sense of serenity and peace, a deep sense of serenity and peace as I breathe in and breathe out. A deep sense of serenity and peace. That sense of peace is my power. That sense of serenity is my relationship. I'm one with all things. Breathe. Feel. Yes. Good. Good. Yes, Gemma, good. Good. That's really good. Breathe. Breathe. It's in your diaphragm, Anna. Under your lungs. There's this thing called a diaphragm. It's just a place of location. You have energy there. on the sides, below your arms. You have energy there. Try to feel it. Try to breathe into it and feel it. And just work with it. Just allow it to be there. Work with it. Try not to label it anything. Can you feel that? Right. Good. Now it's in the middle of your back. Good. Serenity and peace. Serenity and peace. We're going to enter into that now. We're going to enter fully into a sense of serenity, fully into a sense of peace. Even your ideas of what serenity is and peace are is helpful in it. Okay? Think of a moment where you've been the most serene, the most peaceful. Maybe it's now. Maybe it's when you were in a rainforest. Just for a second, find yourself giving full power to that idea of serenity, to that idea of peace, and breathe. This is all I want. The goal of the course is inner peace. You are learning to be able to carry that with you wherever you go in the world, into every relationship into which you enter, every circumstance in which you're called to play a part. Serenity and peace. If you lose sight of it, forgiveness. The God mind is a serene mind, is a peaceful mind. And you will lose sight of it. Don't worry about that. You learn to remember better by seeing where it is you forget. Serenity and peace. Feel breathing in from the bottom, up and out through the top of your head. Feel the top of your head. Feel it. Focus. Focus up. Let your thoughts be up. Yes. We're not operating on the temporal plane anymore. We're no longer operating down here in the mud of earth, where we go from yesterday to tomorrow. We're going up. We're operating vertically now, not horizontally. This is a vertical shift into the spheres of consciousness and beyond it. This is a vertical shift. We're no longer concerned with trying to work out the bits and pieces of our daily lives on the world, on the earth. We're here to represent God. We're here to represent the Christ mind in a world that seems hell-bent on denying it. We come as a light in the darkness. But first we must heal ourselves. Miracles are our right, but purification is necessary first. Breathe. Feel. Breathe and feel. And just be in that place. Just be in that place for a moment. That's good. Anthea, I want you to go and have your hot bath like straight away. Okay? Like you can do it now. Go and turn the taps on, get it ready, and get in there straight away. And I want you to stay in this frame of mind that you're in now with how you've been feeling, okay, while you do that. If you do it later, you're going to lose this sense of self for a moment, okay? Go and do it now and carry that with you into the bathtub. Everyone else, good. Can you feel that tingling, Vivian? Do you get a sense of it in the top of your head? All you have to do is commit to it. All you have to do in that yes, you're committing to a decision you've made to walk with the holiest of the holies. You're committing to a decision that you've made to say yes to your salvation. Don't sacrifice it. You never know in your next life where you're going to pop up. Everything in time and space is chaos and random. You don't know what time zone, what nation, what bloodline, what situation you're going to be made manifest in again. You just get in that queue at the bardo, and the next thing you know, you're being born again into some other thing. The energetics will be the same, but you probably won't like, you know what I mean? You're in a perfect space now. You're in a perfect place now. You have all you need to say yes. And you have the power of mind to stay true to that yes in a place where the world seems to want to kill you and put you up on a cross. And don't be ridiculous. How dare you believe such things? Trust, have faith, go with him. He who feeds 5,000 with 4 loaves and 2 fishes. Go with him. Have faith. Good, Tina. Good, Anna. Good, Gemma. Gemma, that's really good. There's something really cool happening there. There's a sense of integrity. That's what it is. There's something that's fallen into a deeper comprehension with you in this. Like an abiding. It's like a sense of abiding with it. It's like a maturity, which is good. Very good. It's beautiful. All right, that's it. I'm going to go and have some breakfast. Serenity and peace. Peace be upon your families. That's an old Islamic blessing. Peace be upon you and your family.
Shalom Aleichem.
Inshallah.
Bye, gang. Thank you.
Inshallah.
Inshallah.
Beautiful, sis.